Okay, on the table here, Nate, this is your OS FS-120 Surpass E version engine that I just did a diagnosis run on. You have given me the approval to service this engine. I'm going to begin the disassembly, but I'm not going to be filming the entire thing. I'm just going to stop the video, and as I start taking things apart, when I start to just find things that don't look right, then I'll turn the video on and note those. But otherwise, I think I've done plenty of four-stroke disassembly videos than to bore people with watching me undo fasteners. So I'll turn the video back on when I come to something that is it looks obviously like something that needs to either be replaced, remedied, or whatever. Okay, so I got the carb off, the head off. The head, as you had mentioned, you took the head off to get at the cam followers, so this should be no surprise to you what this looks like. It doesn't look too terrible down there. I mean, there's nothing here. The valve springs are not broken or compressed. I mean, they seem fine to me, so I'm not seeing any issues there. Here's the inside of the crankcase. That looks pretty rough. That looks really rough. So I was just about to take this cam cover off because you said you were unable to get it off, and in the process you had broken one of the tabs off here. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to see if I can get this thing off. And because I was able to pull this cam follower out with a magnet, but not this one. So that's kind of sucks, because I was really hoping that this one would be the one that would come out, because that's the one that actually holds this timing gear in place and doesn't allow the extraction. But from what it sounds like you said, it kind of sounds like this cover is attached to that camshaft itself and is not allowing it to come up. So I'm gonna have to work on this a bit. Okay, so the next milestone has been achieved, which was quite difficult. Nate, you had said that you were unable to get that cover off, and you actually had broken the tabs, or one tab on it, in the process of doing it. So this is a perfect example of what can happen when an engine sits for years without being properly shut down and lubricated. I end up having to use vice grips, just gripping on just the outer edge of this to heat it up and rotate it to get it off. So you've got a choice here. You can either continue to go with this, and I can try to polish these edges up where the teeth were grabbing into it and everything else, or you can have me purchase a new cover. Obviously this thing's going to have gas bearings replaced. So I want to show you this. Look at the condition of that. This is what neglecting an engine, not properly shutting it down and putting after-run oil in it, does to it after sitting for 10 years. So let's see if I can quickly and easily get this cam follower out of here now and pull this. My super strong magnets didn't want to come off with this. I need something that's going to give me a little bit of an angle like this, so I can shove that cam follower up there. There we go. Now my magnet should grab it. Yeah, boy, that cam follower is pretty gross looking too. Let's see if this thing will come out now. And so your timing gear camshaft should come out quite easily. Sometimes it can be in that same condition down in there too. So at least now I can continue on with the disassembly and diagnosis of this engine. Okay, so here's some more milestones or progress on this disassembly. As you can see, I got the piston out. And you may say, well, why in the hell is the connecting rod still attached to it? And I was kind of asking myself the same thing. It's like, is the Surpass one of those ones that you can actually pull off without having to extract the piston pin? And it would appear that the answer would be yes, because even though I was trying to extract the piston pin using my Torx bit, I was sitting there doing it, and all of a sudden I just saw the end of this just kind of flop off. So I think what happened was was I got enough movement here, because some pistons allow this much movement, and if you can get that much movement plus just a hair more from the sleeve, that's typically enough to get the connecting rod off. Some pistons, the bosses where the connecting rod go, are much thicker, and you have like this much movement, and those are the ones that you really have to get this piston pin out. So the other thing I've noticed here with this piston is that here's probably the reason why it had low compression, is that the only portion of the ring that's not completely compressed in the groove is this small section here. Other than that, all of this is completely compressed in the groove. So I'm going to stick this whole thing in the ultrasonic cleaner, which is nice and warmed up now, and see if that will unstick this piston ring. Otherwise I'm going to have to, clean it, heat it up, and then just very carefully with a T-pin start trying to pull it out of that gap, and then see if the ring is still salvageable. I mean, this is what the top of the piston looked like. So I don't think that this ring is bad. I think it's just compressed, fully compressed in the head. So I don't think that that's bad. This does not indicate a high time engine such that the ring would be worn out. A fully compressed ring doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's stuck in the groove is all. Here's another one of the milestones. Is this has got a Woodruff key. At least it looks like it should have a Woodruff key, but it also kind of looked like it didn't. But so I've had to do this several times now with several of the last few engines. This pair of gripper or jaw gear pullers and my smaller set, they have holes in them here so that you could angle these legs in different ways, in inward and outward, lengthen them or whatever. But I've been using these holes to put the tie wrap on here just to try to give it more grip here, because of the fact that if you look at the contour of this, it's sloped, so it's not like a 90 degree where this thing will really grab. It wants to try and ride up and slip off of it if you don't really hold this firmly in place. And I don't have Arnold Schwarzenegger hands strong enough to sit there and hold that when this thing is that tight. So I've had to oil and heat this quite a bit, and I think I finally got it to the point where it's about off. Now see, I just slipped off there. So this thing is just being stubborn in all aspects. I mean, look, it's almost off. It should just come right off at this point, but oh, see, now I just pulled my damn jaws off, and with the wire tie on there, it's really difficult to get this back on there. So I don't know, this thing should just come right off. I may end up just, I don't know. I just got to get this thing off of here. So that's the next hurdle. Ultrasonic's ready to go, so I'm going to go put this in there, and I've got every other part I think I need to get in there for now in there. So I'm going to start cleaning parts. Okay, so next milestone, I don't think these are that hot. Bearings are out, crankshaft is out. Look at this crankshaft. Look how unbelievably horrible that thing looks. Now I will get this cleaned up and it will look so much better than that. I can't even believe that there was ever a consideration, which I never considered it, that these bearings would be any good. I mean, they look horrible. This one doesn't actually feel that bad, but it looks pretty horrible there. This one, oh, that feels pretty rough. Look at that thing. Pretty rough bearing there. So anyway, let's see if we can see the inside of this case. It's just as rough as everything else. Now I will be pulling these camshaft bearings out, and I'll demonstrate how I'm going to do that, but I think what I want to do is first get this all cleaned up and throw those away. I need to get bearings on order. I don't have any bearings at this time, so I need to get some bearings on order, and then we'll continue on with the reassembly. Okay, here's a bit more progress on this. I put this off to the side. I didn't have it in the frame when I started, but excuse me, I've got this piston all cleaned up. I don't know if you're going to be able to tell or not, but I've got the piston ring completely free. It's rotating here. As I said, I just put it in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then I used a little bit of LA's Totally Awesome cleaner to eat that gunk up, and with the T-pin I just lifted it out of the ring, and now it rotates freely, and everything is all happy here. So crankcase came pretty clean. It's stained inside. It's permanently stained inside. I'm going to oil it up real good and it'll work. This crankshaft, I've done a little bit of cleaning on this crankshaft, and I'm using, actually it's like I think 150 or 200 grit sandpaper with some oil on it, and I've done just this bottom portion. All of this, you can feel the ridge of, God, I don't know if it's just rust or garbage. I don't know what it is, but this whole crank counterweight is going to need to be basically sanded down or emery cloth down very heavily to get this layer of, I think this is just a layer of rust on here. And this, to me, actually looks like maybe it's pitting. So this engine has definitely seen its better days. Now I'll eventually, when I get all this really heavy stuff off, I'll go to like 600 or 400 grit with some oil on it and clean up all these other bearing surfaces. But I mean, I just wanted to show you that this was really bad. This was really bad. Let me just do a little bit here on this bottom portion here. This is how I clean these things. I always do them all by hand. I don't normally use this heavy a grit of paper because it's usually not this bad. But here you can see. How that cleans up. I mean, this will be a serviceable crankshaft when I'm done with it, but it's going to take some real effort to do that. I'm not going to use a Dremel on it with any kind of wire brush or anything like that. This is all going to be done by hand so that I can make sure that I take really good care of this, because it's salvageable. It's just, maybe that's not pitting, maybe that's just discoloration, but I don't know, it feels like pitting to me. Anyway, that's the latest update on this engine. I'll continue working on it.